Hello and welcome to a Maths Blast. This one is a quick 10 minutes, maybe less, on negative numbers, just an introduction. Now, they are introduced in year 4, but you might find that in year 3 you're quite interested in them, and you might need a refresher later on as well in year 5 or maybe even in year 6. I won't be covering adding and subtracting negative numbers in this session. That will be in another one. This is an introduction to negative numbers, what they are, how to visualize them, and how to work out which ones are bigger, which ones are smaller, and how to put them, a group of numbers, into order, which is one of the first things you have to do with negative numbers. So, first of all, the language of negative numbers. I will use negative and minus interchangeably because we do use negative and minus interchangeably, but we find that these days we're using negative much more, negative like -5, -6, instead of -5 and -6, simply because minus sometimes gets a bit confused when you're taking away. You end up doing 7 minus -6, and it just gets a bit confusing like that, but we can say, but we can use negative and minus interchangeably, so I shall do both. Right, first of all, when we are thinking about negative numbers, I want you to think back to when you learned numbers on a number line. We had numbers going all the way along, left to right, and a horizontal number line. And that's the way that number lines are almost always depicted. But for negative numbers, I find it really useful to turn the number line around so it's a vertical number line, just like the one I've drawn on the board. You will see them horizontal for negative numbers, absolutely, but I think when you're first learning them, it's quite useful to visualize them, visualize negative numbers on a vertical number line, just like this. So it's always really useful as well to think about when we might use negative numbers in real life. And often we talk about temperature, particularly in cold countries like the UK, or even colder countries further up north. In our winters, we often go below freezing. We go into the minus numbers, and children will have heard of that, so that's quite a good reference point. And the other one is when we're diving, going below sea level. That's what this little guy here is all about. He's going to go diving in a minute. So diving down below sea level, using thermometers, or even we can talk about using lifts in a building. So have ground level, where you go in and you go up into the positive numbers, and then you might drop down into the negative numbers and go into the basement level 1, level 2, level 3. So that's why I quite like using a vertical number line, because that helps with the getting bigger going up, getting smaller coming down visualization for children. So this little chap here, how do we introduce negative numbers? Well, first of all, we have always been taught that numbers just go up from 0, and 0 is the smallest number you can get. But at this level, we start to introduce the fact that actually that numbers can get smaller than 0. And that's a tricky concept to understand, isn't it? But there are numbers below 0 where the numbers get smaller. So here they are. This little man here, he can go up. Of course he can go up. He's got a rocket launcher. He can go up into the sky with his positive numbers, and he'll go flying up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way to infinity and beyond. And those numbers get bigger, 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 bigger as he goes up. But he's very well equipped, this young man, and he has a scuba diving kit, and he goes down into the sea. And he can go down, -1 meter, -2, -3, change the words, -4, -5, -6, -7, -8, -9, etc. He goes down all the way down, down, down. But the lower he goes, the smaller those numbers get. Even though these digits here get bigger, he goes further down, so it gets smaller, smaller, smaller. We can draw on it a giant V that shows that the bigger numbers, so it gets bigger as it goes up, and it gets smaller as it goes down. So that's the first thing to understand, is that numbers get smaller as we go down. So we can do some comparing numbers. We can choose 2 numbers and decide whether they're greater than or less than, bigger or smaller than each other. So let's let's put it inside our V. Let's have -5, which is here. I'll put it on the number line as well. -5 and -1. Okay, so -5 and -1. Now, which one is bigger? So if you visualize it on the number line, you can see that -1 is further up the number line than -5. So we can say that -1 is bigger than -5. So we'd write -1 is greater than -5. Now, what about, let's have one with 0 in it. What about 0 and -4? Let's take these arrows out. 0 is here and -4 is here. So put it onto our big V if that helps you. -4. -4 is down the smaller end, isn't it? So -4 is smaller than 0. So -4, let's do it the other way around now, is smaller than 0. Remember, the crocodile always eats the big number. So -4 is smaller than 0. So have a go at doing a few of those, just comparing two numbers against each other. And then we can go on to ordering them. So we get a group of numbers and we put them into order. The question usually asks for starting with the smallest, so that's what we'll do. Now, you can draw out a whole group of numbers. We'll start with 0. Let's put a few negative numbers in there. And let's put a few positive numbers in there. Okay. So we've got a few negative and a few positive numbers. Which number is the smallest out of all of those numbers here? Well, we've got 0. Is that the smallest number? 0 is here. Well, no, we've got some negative numbers as well. We go down, down, down into the ocean. And we go down. Look at all of our negative numbers. So we're looking for negative numbers. Now we've got -2, -3, -4, -8. Oh, now -8 is the smallest number in this group. Okay, so we're going to start with -8. He's all the way down here on the number line, remember? So -8, -8, cross him out when we've done it. And then we can work our way up the number line. Have we got any of these ones? No, 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 but we've got -4, haven't we? So -4 goes in next, and then -3, and then -2. Oh, cross him out, yes, sorry, -2. And then, now we don't have a -1, but we do have 0. Don't forget that 0 is a number. He must go in there as well. 0, and then we've just got our positive numbers left, and they're easy peasy to put into order. 3, 5, oh no, we've got 2, 3, 5, and 7. 2, 3, 5, squeezing them in, and 7. There we go, we put them all in. Okie doke, so that is a really good exercise to do. Play around with it, choose some bigger numbers, some smaller numbers. You can go much further down, you can go to -20, -25, as low as you want to go. But remember, the lower you go down, even though the digits get bigger, the numbers get smaller. So -147 is a really small number, okay? Right, I hope that's helped. It was a quick maths blast today, but I hope it helped. Take care, bye-bye.